All right, so last week, this guy living in Turkey messaged me and said, "Who taught you history? Kurdistan has never existed and it will never become real." And I said, "Why do you think that? I grew up in Kurdistan. Show me any evidence that Kurdistan doesn't exist." And he said, "Where's your knowledge?" And then went on to say, "You probably have a connection with a Kurd and have gone round and round spreading this issue." I said, "I think you misunderstand your argument. It's very simple. Go to your browser, type in Google Kurdistan region, and you'll immediately see the world agrees that there is a recognized semi-autonomous state in northern Iraq called Kurdistan." He said, "You have to understand, Kurdistan does not exist. Which country has recognized Kurdistan as a region or a state? No one." So I just immediately sent him this screenshot of the logo of the Kurdistan regional government. At this point, I'm starting to realize there's no reasoning with this guy. Okay, this next part makes me laugh. I sent him that logo. He says, no country has ever officially recognized Kurdistan as a separate region. Then he sends this clearly AI written paragraph of why Kurdistan doesn't exist. And at the end of that, it says, Iraqi Kurdistan is an autonomous region within Iraq with its own government and some of its own institutions. So right here at the end of this message, he contradicts himself and what he's been arguing for this whole time, and even went above what I said. I said semi-autonomous. He wrote autonomous, which isn't even true, by the way. Then he said, "What world do you live in? What you write is wishful thinking." So I sent that. Then I did my best to show him the flaw in his own messages, and I sent him screenshots of what I said, and I sent him screenshots of what he was saying, and he kept fighting back, and finally left me on scene and has never responded. It's been a week, nothing. So he just gave up, but never, he said, "No matter what, you're never gonna convince me." Okay, this right here shows a real problem. He presented me with a question, or really with a challenge, a debate. I responded very calmly, I'll be honest. I just presented him with the facts and said, "I disagree, here's the evidence of why." And instead of presenting his own evidence or, trying to counter, he immediately got angry and started lashing out and just said, "No, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying." Guys, I have a realistic worldview, okay? I know that Kurdistan is not an official, independent, recognized nation. That's what we're working towards. But you can never say Kurdistan is not real. And you can never say, "Where's Kurdistan on the map?" Because there is a officially, globally recognized government in place for a semi-autonomous region called Kurdistan in northern Iraq. Just because there's still work to be done on gaining full independence does not mean that these people don't exist. And then when I present them with clear evidence that it does, it becomes, a childish fight. You're lying, it's not true. Unfortunately, this really shows the hatred that is instilled in people who live in Turkey at even a young age, and it becomes impossible to convince them of something else because it's what they've been raised in. It's what they've been told. They've been raised that Kurds are the enemy. They don't really exist as a real people group. Anyone who says they're Kurdish is just a terrorist trying to take advantage of you or, destroy your culture, whatever. So why did I tell you all this? I think it was a perfect example of why I make my videos. Because I want to raise global awareness of the Kurdish cause. Most people here in the States don't even know who Kurds are. I like to think that I'm making a little bit of a dent in that, though. Here at my university, we've got our, Kurdish flag up. My roommate already knows everything about Kurdish culture. He's had Kurdish dinners at some of my friends' houses and things like that. But also specifically with the videos, and that's why I'm doing this one in English, because I want to reach people in Europe. I want to reach people in Turkey. I want to reach people in Iran, in Iraq. I want to raise awareness that this is a culture that is beautiful. And it does have a semi-autonomous recognized nation, so you can't deny them anymore. So that's why my message to anyone in Turkey and Iran and Iraq who hates Kurds and they're watching this video, I'm not going to be quiet. I'm not going to stop making videos. I'm not going to sit down. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that the entire world knows the beautiful culture that this flag right here represents. Long live Kurdistan.